Good morning. Welcome back. You're still watching Daybreak on this 24th day of July 2023. My name is Sam Gituku. Karibu sana as we have a conversation about why the crisis that we are witnessing in the country. And we'll want to now introduce the panelists that are already here in studio. Let me begin with the first person to arrive. That is Anne Murathe, the woman representative for Kiambu County. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's been a long time. We haven't seen you here.
It's been quite some time.
Yeah. All right. It's good to see you this morning.
Thank you.
And I'm also learning that they haven't met with the deputy minority leader of the Azimio coalition. That is one Honorable Robert Mbui. Good morning.
Morning, Sam.
Why haven't you met?
We are not in the same coalition. And we are not in the same committee.
Yes.
We don't hang around in the same circles.
Yes.
I think that's why.
Of course, Anne Murathe is with the Kenya Kwanza coalition, or is it alliance? And then Honorable Mbui is with the Azimio. Owen Baya is the deputy majority leader. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Salama sana. Good to see you. I think we haven't met on this panel, but I've seen you on Daybreak before.
Yes, I've been here before.
Yes, karibu sana. Then you have Innocent Mugabe, the member of parliament for Likuyani constituency. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
It's good to see you here.
Thank you very much.
Great. And of course, we've seen the conversations going around. The Azimio team says that the Maandamano will be back on Wednesday, despite the chaotic nature that we've seen. There is a conversation about whether the police have used excessive force. The government is congratulating them for doing such a commendable job. The opposition is inviting the United Nations rapporteur on peaceful assembly to intervene and get to investigate what is going on. If you look at the two papers, hustlers caught between a rock and a hard place, that is according to the Standard. The Nation is talking about wave of arrests and abductions raises concern, and pressure mounts on Ruto, Raila to hold talks. And I think I want us to begin at that point. Honorable Robert Mbui, we've heard of several leaders, either they are running away from the police or have been arrested and in custody. What is the count now?
Thank you, Sam. I'm not too sure because there's too many people that have been arrested arbitrarily. And it's gone to the level even of people that are just blogging, on social media. Like Pauline Njoroge was arrested, I think, on Saturday. Some of our members have been in hiding because the police have been looking for them. It's a very unfortunate state of affairs that we are going through. And all this, Sam, because, this regime has decided to brand demonstrations illegal. And the worst thing is that as they brand them illegal, they themselves continue to demonstrate. I mean, you saw on Thursday and on Wednesday last week that members of Kenya Kwanza coalition were leading demonstrations in the streets. It happened in Kakamega with the Secretary General, none other than the Secretary General of Kenya Kwanza, leading demonstrations in Kakamega. We saw members, I think in somewhere in Nanyuki, the Honorable former member Ketu Aruguru. We also saw some members of Kenya Kwanza from Kisii, going around the streets and doing demonstrations. So what I'm wondering to myself is, why the double standards? What kind of government sets double standards? They can, members of Kenya Kwanza can do certain things when members of Azimio, who are also elected members, cannot be allowed. You even saw a member from Nakuru Town East, I think West, walking around brandishing a firearm in the full glare of media and the police. And nothing was done. He wasn't arrested. He's walking scot-free. I'm here to say that if you choose to suspend the Constitution, then let us all know so that we can disband Parliament and we all go home. And then the executive can take over Parliament, they can make the laws, and they can also run the judiciary if that's what they want. Because it is unfortunate that we are elected. And all of us are elected in the same manner. When people want to vote, they elected people to be MCA, to be governor, to be senator, to be president, and all those seats. But now, the Constitution does confer to us certain responsibilities, one of which is to speak on behalf of the people. And If I am unable to speak on behalf of the people of Kathiani, then why do I need to draw a salary? Why should I continue drawing a salary to do that? If I'm unable to do the job for which I'm given. And I saw, and you know, all of us took an oath here, and I'm happy this panel is only full of members of parliament. We also took an oath of office, and we sought to uphold the Constitution, to defend the Constitution. Is that what is happening with Kenya Kwanza? No. It is very unfortunate. I'm very saddened to be a leader in Kenya today, under the current situation and the current circumstances.
Right, and Honorable Baya, so how do you explain what is going on? So your colleagues in Parliament have to run because there is information they are being sought. Some have been in custody, including one who was released, I think it was on Thursday, no, it was on Friday actually, that is one Babu Owino. What is going on? Why this?
Thank you very much, Sam. One of the things that and I hear my brother and I hear the tone at which he's approaching this issue, but I want to say this. As a government, as Kenya Kwanza, and as I lead the troops in Parliament, one of the things I want to say is that as Kenya Kwanza, we will continue to uphold the Constitution. And this Constitution is very clear. What Article 37 says is very clear. Peaceful and armed. Anybody who breaches that part of the Constitution is not within the Constitution realms to organize protests. There's a difference between protest and riots, and protest and destruction of properties. There's a clear difference. Now, what our Azimio colleagues, what they have been doing, they have been abusing that article. Abusing it in the sense that, yes, there's a provision. I also want to enjoy that right now and then. I want to enjoy that right. But I should not abuse a right just because I want to do things the wrong way. What the Azimio people have been organizing riots and destructions of property and maiming people and going out there. There are very many police officers who have been injured. Why are they injured if these people were peaceful? This guy lives home. He lives home. Before he's even gone to the streets to see anything, he already carries stones and missiles, you know. We saw in Kisumu where people came out with a catapult that had been premeditated, that had been prepared for a long time. And they went to the streets and killed a police officer using that. Are those protests under Article 37? They're not. What we have been seeing in Nairobi, what we saw in the expressway, is not protests under Article 37. It is not. Those are people who are out to destroy property. The police have a duty to protect lives and property. And that is what our policemen are doing when they go out there. Now, what Azimio are trying to do is to sabotage and subvert this government. This government is in place properly. If they would want to depose this government, they have an opportunity in 2027 to come out in an election.
Why is sabotaging the government?
But when they come out and destroy property, when they come out and want to fight the police, they come out armed, going out there to fight the police. Why do they want to fight the police? You don't go out there to protest to fight the police with a singular aim of going to fight the police. The police are part of government, and they have a responsibility under the Constitution. And that is why they will come out. Now, the other point they say about leaders, you know, who are running away. These are leaders who have, you know, they are leaders, and leaders have turned out to be criminals. And that we must call them out.
Your colleagues?
People, yes, people who go out there, organize gangs. What we saw on the expressway was organized by a leader who came out and say, carried people, ferried people in a bus, took them to Mlolongo and all those places and told them, this is a supermarket. I will not name them here, but this is a supermarket. Get in here and do whatever you want. Go and steal, go and break in, go and destroy this supermarket. This is the expressway. Go and destroy everything on the expressway. These are leaders. Do you want us to keep those criminals? Those people that are organizing gangs and raiding supermarkets and raiding roads and burning tires and trying to make this country look like there's a civil war in this country, we will not allow them. And
Honorable Baya, you're talking about, because the Mlolongo incident happened on, I think it was July 12th.
Yes.
Has that leader you're accusing been taken to court?
Yeah, investigations are still on, and we will capture these people. And that's why they are running away. And that's why they are hiding. Why are they hiding? If you have nothing wrong, Honorable Mbowe is telling us that people are hiding. Why are they hiding if they have nothing wrong to hide?
Secondly, tell me, because you said that demonstrators are using missiles. Do you want to define that?
Yes, you know, Common Palace, a stone is a missile in Common Palace, and that is what they're using. Current, you know, what we see in this country now, people have departed from the provisions of Article 37, which are very clear. And they want to use that article to make this country ungovernable, not within the sense of the article, but from a criminal point of view. And the police will go after those criminals. I had Robert Mbowe talk about bloggers being arrested. The lady in Watamu, which is my constituency actually, was arrested because of criminal activities, alleged criminal activities. And the police said they found her with drugs. That is not politics. That is criminal. And she needs to be put where criminals belong to.
Do you know that for a fact, or you're relying on the police reports?
Because that is an authentic report from the police. Because the police are the ones who arrested her, and they said this is what we found her with, and therefore we will take her to court.
Okay.
And we expect her to be taken to court today.
All right. You're depending on the police report, which is fine.
Yes.
Let's listen to what the president said about the action by the police.
Committed to the country that we are going to stop impunity. Vile tuliwaambia ya kwamba askari, hatutaruhusu askari kuvunja sheria na kuua watu kiholela. The same way we said we are going to get rid of extrajudicial killing is the same way we are committed to making sure that there is no impunity.
All right, he makes an important point there that the government vowed to stop the extrajudicial killings. But then again, we've seen accusations by different voices, including the Kenya Human Rights Commission, that has been happening. But Honorable Muratha, two issues. First, on the fate of your colleagues, I mean, their colleague parliamentarians, but also the action by the police at a time that you've had enough families now saying of how they lost their loved ones, or people who are in hospital giving their ordeal of what happened. Some saying they're not even involved in the demonstrations. They became victims of stray bullets. How do you account for all these things?
Maybe I would first start by saying that the world has become very global. And everything people are doing, it's not like those other times when they used to do all those demonstrations and then would get the information later. Or whatever is happening in the country during the day, people are able to access what is happening in the country. And maybe somewhat I would say is that what we are seeing is that Azimio people are still in denial that they lost the elections. Because number one, there was that feeling that they were not like they would take it. They had already taken it. And they're still in very strong denial. And they still are not believing that Ruto is the president of Kenya. And you see, when you are even a father and your children don't want to obey, there are times you will need to put your foot down and tell them, I am the father and the man of this family, because you have to believe that. So that is number one, why these people have all these problems. The other thing, these people are forgetting that policemen are also human beings. Policemen are our children. They are our husbands, they are our fathers, they are our sons, and they are people of this country. When we look at what is happening in this country, a policeman is holding a gun, and there is a whole lot of goons coming towards the policeman with stones. And all that is expected of them, because I'm not advocating that the police should use excess power. But again, I'm only asking myself, it's common sense to ask yourself, we saw the other day a policeman hit in the eye and was bleeding all through as he was being taken to the hospital. And you could see these guys who hold the parliament in Inaitwa Bunge ya Mwananchi somewhere around Jivanji Garden say that is the most exciting thing that made them very happy. Yet their leaders are feeling that this is the way to go. So I think what people need to understand is that there is a government in this country in place, and the president of this country is none other than William Samoei Ruto, and that is the person that was given the mandate to rule this country.
But is that really in doubt? 10 months on, is it in doubt?
It is still in doubt, because look at what is happening. Because I'm telling you, it's become a global village. Look at what is happening. Look at all the people who believed they were going somewhere and they lost it. The people from Mount Kenya who lost it. Look at what is happening. Day in, day out, they are keeping on joining Azimio because they know Baba has a trend that he has formed over the years, that I will, after I've lost elections, I'll create problems. Then after I've created problem, I'll be given an opportunity in government, so I will come with my people. So opportunists now who lost elections are joining him every day. It's like they are watching, by the way, this guy is like, he's going to create problems and we might get something. So they keep on joining him because we are already in a trend. We know how Raila Odinga operates. There is a way I will lose an election, then I'll start creating problems, then I'll be given an opportunity. A majority of these people who lost elections and are following him are waiting for him to get what he will get and bargain for what they will get. Okay. This is where they are all coming in. So what I'm trying to say is that let's, as Kenyans, have an honest discussion and tell these people that even when they are talking about the cost of living becoming very difficult and whatever they are talking about, they should tell us where is the cost of living. Is it in the whole country or it is in a particular area? Because why would you go to the struggling Kenyans who are struggling to put food on the table? And these are the people you go and destroy what some of these people feed from hand to mouth. And these are the people you run to go and tell them, life is very difficult for you, we have come to help you. Then you destroy what they were making for that day. And at the end of the day, you tell us you are achieving something. I think as leaders, now that today you also called us here now as leaders of Kenya Kwanza and Azimio, we need to have an honest discussion and talk the truth. And what they are saying, the government has become, whatever they are calling it, the government has become. I think it's a high time the president now puts his foot down and says he is the president of this country. And let the Azimio people know there is a government in place. And there is nothing to debate about that, because that is what they are still in denial. And the moment they believe that, then they will respect the rule of law. I have heard my brother here say that he also saw a demonstration of Kenya Kwanza. What was the demonstration of Kenya Kwanza? People who are out there saying, we are tired of people destroying our things, and they were unarmed. They're just standing and walking in the streets and saying no.
Just something small. You said that the president is to stamp his foot that he is the president.
Yes.
And this is not subject to debate. And the Azimio leaders have to accept the rule of law. What do you mean with that?
When I say that they have to accept the rule of law, because picketing and whatever they are doing an demonstration is in the Constitution and it is allowed. But how do you do it? Do you go carrying stones all over the town? Do you go destroying people's property? Look at what they did on the first day. See what they did to Eastmart supermarket. See what they did at Waruko Quickmart supermarket. They destroyed the supermarket completely. So when they're saying they are talking for the common Mwananchi, the common Mwananchi is the young man who sits in that supermarket to make a living. Then they go and they destroy that supermarket. Where do they expect that boy to go to tomorrow? And then they are saying what they are doing is that it is allowed in the Constitution. It is allowed, but they have to be unarmed. Okay. We have seen them all over, armed and talking and inciting the country. Why would you call that? They're just disobeying the rule of law, and they need to understand that they need to be...
What does rule of law mean to you when your colleague parliamentarians have been in custody for more than 24 hours, being taken around different police stations, some of them spending the weekend locked in? What is rule of law in that?
Sam, you need to understand this. A time comes in this life, not just in government. A time comes in this life, when you have to make a decision. There are matters, you know what happens in Kenya is that in Kenya we become like, when it comes to times of law, when we're talking about the law, all of us become lawyers. When we become political analysts, all of us become political analysts. When it comes to matter security, we also have become the security specialists. You see what is happening in the country today. The issue of security of these people, or of this country, has to be taken care by the government that is in place. So what we are saying is how the security people are doing this, because for me and you, we may not know who is keeping these guns. We may not know who is doing what, but we have an intelligence in this country that knows what these people are doing.
And I'm asking you because, Honorable Murathe, you sit in Parliament to make laws.
Yes.
And you expect every institution to follow the law.
Yes.
I'm asking you a specific question. What does rule of law mean to you, to your colleague parliamentarians who've been to be kept in custody, be moved around different police stations without being produced in court?
Why they are not being, possibly why they may not have been produced in court is because of what is happening in the country. You see, when you become a threat to the nation, people don't understand what you are up to. You are on a mission.
But what is rule?
You will not be allowed to move around, destroying people's lives and property.
Rule of law.
Rule of
court ask for time to continue holding them.
What the police do, we all know what the police do. They investigate what is happening because they have to have enough information, because what we are seeing is what is happening and what we are seeing on social media. And what we are seeing on social media and what we are seeing on media does not, sometimes may not really work for you well in court. So you have to get down to the ground and seek the investigation and do the investigation, and now start to see how you're going to place the case in court. But you cannot just walk by what you have heard, what you have seen.
You don't have a problem with holding your colleagues for longer period?
For what is happening in the country today and the threat of the security that is in the country today. For the 50 million Kenyans, they cannot be, the security of 50 million Kenyans cannot be jeopardized because of 1, 2, 3, 5 people.
I hear you, Honorable Murathe. That's your take on that.
Yes, it's my take.
Never mind. It may be inconsistent with what the law provides. Let's listen to what the Deputy President said about, again, action by the police.
Nataka niwaambie polisi wetu hongera kwa kusimama kidete na kuhakikisha kwamba kuna amani na kuhakikisha kwamba wahalifu wote wanachukuliwa hatua, ndio tuhakikisha kwamba kuna amani Kenya.
This is a time to bring to an end political blackmail in this country. For too long, that mzee wa maandamano ametumia fujo to blackmail the people of Kenya and find his way into leadership.
All right, that's the President and the Deputy. Honorable Brother, President and the Deputy, I don't think it's a question of debate. I don't think they need to come out and say that I am the President, I'm the Deputy. But Honorable Mugabe, as you reflect on what is going on, so what are we supposed to do as a country? And I've seen concerns about how the law is being applied, how arrests are being made, and later on we'll also be talking about the raids at different homes. What should we be doing as a country, despite the crisis, the political crisis we have?
Thank you. You know, when I listen to Honorable member for Kiambu County, the trajectory that Kenya Kwanza is taking is very dangerous. We are planting very dangerous seeds in Kenya that periodically we are eroding all the gains we've gained for the rights and fundamental freedoms that we enjoy as a country. It has taken us more than 2 decades to reach here, but now we are seeing a degeneration of these gains. If a honorable member can come and say that holding a person more than 24 hours, it is okay, and it is provided in Article 49 of the Constitution clearly. Unless you're telling us now we are suspending the Constitution, that should never even be a thought in anyone with the right mind in this country. Not the president, not the deputy, not the judiciary, because that is a right that has been provided for in the Constitution. We can't change that unless we amend the Constitution. Number 2, I'm seeing progressively we are planting seeds that will help the executive to start to go back to the authoritarian rule, to dictatorship. Why? We are setting up, we are stage managing events to allow police use extra forces in dealing with protesters and demonstrators, things that are provided for in Article 37 of the Constitution, to a point that they'll say now, we tried, they didn't listen, and now we have to use full force of full force of law. And what will this do? They want to kill any credible democracy in this country. When you kill democracy, what the government is going to achieve is that they want to rule without any checks and balances. And this is what is happening, and we are seeing it growing day by day. There is no explanation on why police should use brutal force on protesters. Number two, we've seen such situation and circumstances where goons are planted in protesters to create chaos. When people are protesting, it is usually peaceful until the police fire bullets, the police throw tear gas and all that. And you cannot come and say that people are armed with stones. Yet the police have guns, they have rubber bullets, they have water cannons, they have tear gas, they have protective gear. Then you compare that to protesters. When you go to grounds like in Kamukunji, when people are crowded, what criminal activity is taking on there? When people are gathered in a ground, what criminal activity is going on there? Maybe the only thing the neighbors can complain, maybe they are shouting, noise. But then you go and dispatch that crowd with guns, with the tear gas. You plant, we've seen now a very bad precedence where ununiformed people are planted in crowds with the authority of the police, working with the policemen, pretending to be protesters, then going to arrest or shoot those protesters. We've seen police going into people's homes, not in the street, where we would say they have come to demonstrate with stones, now going to people's homes, whipping, getting them, whisking them from their houses, beating them recklessly, without care, and even killing them. We've seen now over like 30 deaths reported through the various civil societies since demonstrations began. Is this the country we want? All the gains that we got from the new constitution, we are eroding them. And maybe I would say Ruto is a good planner. He plans long term. Because in 2010, is amongst the very few leaders who opposed this constitution. Maybe he had seen that being a student of Moi, he'll not be able to rule properly with the current, with that constitution. Maybe he had seen that, and he wants us to go back to that era. Because how else? Everyone was supporting that constitution in 2010. He opposed it.
Which was his right, anyway, to express his opinion against the Constitution. But anyway, it is the Constitution of Kenya today. And I want us to take a short break. When we come back, we'll speak about more around that. But also, there's a question that Honorable Murathe is raising, and I'll be posing it to you in terms of what responsibility should the demonstrators take at a time that they come armed with stones, or as Owen Baya wants to call it, missile. We're back in a moment.